Hello, it's DurgaMata, and this is not a morning live, this is an evening video because this morning I had a Zoom, so I had things to get ready and I couldn't do the live first thing. First thing, I'm showing you some nature, and I'm in nature. I'm by the reservoir, which is near to the River Thames, and I love the way that leaves aren't flat. You think of a leaf as being flat, but look at the sculptural quality of these leaves. Not quite sure how to place them so that you can really see the way that they're. I'm going to draw these when I get home. They're such interesting three-dimensional shapes. So that's the leaves. Then we've got another little one. Again, the same thing. The way that the leaves interact with each other and the way that they're bent. Then we've got buttercup. Serious flower to draw for my cards. And last but not least, elderflower. And this is the elderflowers just coming into bloom. You can see that some of them are still in bud. And they're what they make elderflower cordial from. And it's quite breezy here, so we might find that the tripod falls over. We may also find that there's a terrible sound of wind because I haven't got a microphone for this phone. But I'm here and I'm going to do you a mindfulness exercise, and it'll be quite a quick one because it's chilly sitting here. And I would have done it earlier while it was still sunny, but my son phoned and we've been talking about all the adventures he and his dad have been on today. They went over to see my sister in Cambridge and they went to the Botanical Gardens. And when somebody's talking to you on the phone or anywhere else, it's important to really pay attention and not get other than in the moment and enjoying that conversation. So I'm very happy because they just got home and it's still light enough for me to do my mindfulness exercise. First of all, a poem. I'm going to use a poem of my spiritual teachers, which I like to sing every morning, and I've chosen it for you. Look at my hair. I've chosen it for you because it's about nature. And I'll just fix my hair a little bit so it's not blowing quite so madly. And then I will sing you a swing of flowers. God's sweetness showers, man's oneness roll, no division dole. A swing of flowers, God's sweetness showers, man's oneness roll, no division dole. Trying not to laugh because I'm not singing it very well. And also my face looks funny. I'm not used to seeing my face when I'm singing. And I haven't got my dentures in, so it's very strange video today. So, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is an exercise that everyone can practice. And the mindfulness bird has two wings. And the first wing is bring your attention here and now to this moment and notice where you are, what you're doing, what you're feeling in your emotions and your physical sensations, and what you're thinking, where the thoughts are. And very important thing to realize, I am not my thoughts. I am not my mind. I am the observer. I am the one who is aware. And awareness is the secret for making any progress in your life. And when we do mindfulness, it's like stepping outside of yourself and observing what is it like to be me here and now, just at this point in time. Here and now, first wing of the mindfulness bird. Second wing of the mindfulness bird is your attitude. And the attitude is seriously curious and attentive and alert, noticing what it's like to be me here and now, with an attitude of kindliness, self-love, compassion, playfulness, and absolutely no criticism or judgment. Now, the mind is used to moving. They reckon we have about 60,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are habitual thoughts. So the mind's a bit like a forest, and there are paths through it. And if you walk along a certain path, it gets wider and straighter. And that means if you think of things habitually, your thoughts are going to run down that track very quickly and naturally. And at the same time, the brain is plastic, and you can use the neuroplasticity because at every moment there are new cells being formed and new connections being made. And if they're made again and again, they make a highway that's easy to pass down. If they're not used much, then they just slowly and gradually get overgrown and disappear. So in mindfulness, we're watching all that sort of thing, and we're teaching our mind to be obedient to us. We're teaching our thoughts to stay where we want them to, which is here and now, in the moment, with a kindly, compassionate attitude and no judgment or criticism. So you can use your senses, your 5 senses, to bring your attention here and now, and that's what I'm going to use now. I'm going to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise, which I have done already once this month. I'm doing daily live Instagrams every day this month, and it's my way to try and make the world a bit happier and more peaceful. So I'm taking my attention to the fact I'm going to do a mindfulness exercise. And the first thing I like to do is give my body a stretch and a twist. Obviously do this within your own capacity, don't strain anything, but my body's going to be sitting still for a bit, so I'm just making sure that it's not got any reason to grumble and complain. And then what I like to do is take my attention first to my body and feel what it's like to be me here and now. I'm sitting on a bench, my ankles are crossed, and I can feel the pressure of my left foot on the back of my right ankle, and then the pressure of my weight of my legs is going onto my right toe. I'm noticing how my weight's distributed there. Then I'm noticing how the seat, my bottom is resting on the seat, and what that feels like. I'm just moving my body a little bit to notice those sensations. Then I've got my hands resting on my legs, and I can feel the warmth and solidness of my body. And I'm feeling a sense of gratitude. I usually stop in a mindfulness exercise at the beginning and just reflect on gratitude. Gratitude that I'm alive, that I'm fit, that I can come by the reservoir for some exercise. Gratitude that it's not raining. Gratitude I've got my tripod with me and a phone. And once I've thought about my body and its strength, and gratitude for my physical body and my health, then I take my attention to my breath, and I just notice the inhale and the exhale. Just for a few breaths. Notice your breathing, and I find that just by doing that, being conscious of my breath and doing some conscious breathing, the breath slows down and it becomes a little deeper. And already the stress starts to subside. Now I'm going to look around and look for 5 interesting things that I can see. Take my glasses off for a moment and look around. The sycamore trees have got big leaves on now. I'm noticing them. I'm in a glade with quite a lot of sycamore trees around. I'm noticing that the clouds are light grey, the sun's set now, but the sky beyond is still blue between the clouds. So the trees and the leaves, the sky and the clouds, and the blue, deepening blue sky beyond. Straight ahead of me I'm noticing the reservoir, and the water is very, very intensely rippled so that it's looking silver, reflecting all the evening sky. So that's the third one, the water of the reservoir. And the next thing I'm noticing is elderflower and its composite leaves. And again, I was looking at the sculptural nature of the leaves that I picked, but these are also sculptural. Composite leaf for the elder plant. So we've got the sycamore trees and their leaves. We've got the reservoir water with its ripples. We've got the sky with its clouds. That's 3. We've got the elderflower with its composite leaves is 4. And the 5th one I'm going to show you, I'm going to choose the street light, which has come on now, just behind the trees, because this path is parallel to the road. And the street lights just come on. So that is 5 things that I have been able to see that are interesting. So then we get 4 things I can hear. The first thing is the sound of a car that's passing. Second is the sound of an aeroplane. The third is the sound of the wind. It's blowing in my ears quite strongly. It's also rustling the trees. The fourth, stretching my concentration to see if I can hear anything at more of a distance. I can hear some water birds. When you do this yourself, you can take some time over it. Close your eyes and really focus on your sense of sight and sense of hearing. Really focus on the sense of hearing, noticing the sound of the traffic. What do the different vehicles sound like? Are they speeding up or slowing down? Can you detect what sort of aeroplane it is? They're usually the big passenger liner aeroplanes here, going to Heathrow Airport. What's the closest sounds you can hear? Can you hear any sounds from your body? Sometimes you can hear your own heartbeat. Sometimes I can hear my tummy rumbles. There's distant traffic as well as the nearby ones. I was honking of geese just now, but they've stopped. But I think I can hear some ducks. There's the sound of a motorbike. Soft sound of a car passing. Can you hear? What can you hear that's far away? I've got my 4 things I could hear. There was cars passing. There was the wind in the leaves, the wind in my ears. There was an aeroplane. And there were some water birds in the distance. So then you come to 3. Use your fingers to see what 3 different textures you can feel. And I'm stroking the metal stem of the tripod, which is very cold and shiny and smooth. And I'm stroking the wood of the bench beside me. It's hard not so cold, very rough, but rough in a polished way, where people have sat on it a lot. So we've got the smooth, cold metal stem of the tripod, the rough, polished surface of the bench I'm sitting on. And then I'm going to choose to touch the sides of my face. My hands are cold, my face is warm. And the texture of my skin is soft. So those are three items connected with touch. And texture. You can also use the fabric or your hair. There are so many different textures around. The smoothness of my glasses. So next is two things I can taste. When I went out, I came out earlier to get some cat litter, and I stopped at the supermarket on the way home and I bought something to eat, and I bought a wrap. I can still taste the wrap, and I bought spinach. I can still taste the spinach. And one fragrance. Sometimes you can't smell anything particular, and that's okay, because the aim is you're actually noticing what it's like to be here and now. Sometimes you can't actually. Maybe if you're sitting somewhere very quiet, you may not be able to hear four things. And maybe if there's air is very still and there's no particular source of fragrance, it may be hard to actually discern any scent or any fragrance at all. But I have got elderflower. And if you're in the habit of drinking elderflower cordial, you'll know it has a very distinct and beautiful fragrance. My mother and my sister both are expert at making elderflower cordial. I have to say my mother was, because she passed away a few years ago at the great age of 99. But my sister still makes it, and maybe I will this year. It would be nice to make that. So then I've done my 5 things I could see that were interesting, 4 things I could hear, 3 things I could touch, 2 tastes that I could recollect, and 1 fragrance, which means this exercise is coming to a close. So I'll take my attention back to my breath, the inhale, the exhale. You can put your hands on your belly if you like, and make sure you're breathing right from the bottom of your diaphragm, filling your lungs. Take a bit of a sip to fill them fully. You can hold your breath for a moment or 2 to let the oxygen enter your blood and the carbon dioxide disperse. It's called retention. And then a nice slow exhale. When you make your exhale slower than your inhale, it turns down the level of the stress. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure lowers, just by using that mindfulness breathing technique, where you inhale, hold, and exhale slowly. Empty your lungs completely, or as much as you can. And then, oh, there's a nice sound. It's the geese. They've come to bless us with their sound. When you've finished your breathing, I like to rub my hands together, create a bit of friction, and hold them on the sides of my face, just to strengthen that sense of self-love and gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude for being here with you before it gets completely dark, able to do a nice exercise and then finish off with a bit of a stretch and a twist and wriggle your fingers, and that comes to the end. So thank you for joining me in this little mindfulness exercise. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you practice mindfulness every day for just a few minutes, your neocortex is strengthened and your amygdala shrinks. That means the part of your brain which deals with calculating things, creativity, problem solving, and generally being in command of your life, that becomes stronger, while the amygdala, which deals with stress, shrinks, because while you're doing the mindfulness exercise, your brain is not stressed, your body is not stressed, so your stress level is reduced and you don't need to use your amygdala so much. It is fantastic, free, you can do it anywhere, very positive results. Oh, and I'll just say one other thing. The mindfulness bird can sit in its nest, which means you take some time out, you sit somewhere particular or stand or lie down somewhere and focus on an exercise just like we did now. That's called, I call it, the mindfulness bird sitting in its nest. But the mindfulness bird can also fly. And that means you can take your mindfulness into any activity during the day. When you're out and about, you can notice where you are, what you're doing, the sounds that are around, the sights that are around, the light and the shadows. If you're eating something, you can just take a couple of minutes where you really focus on looking to see what the food looks like, smelling to see the fragrance, tasting it and touching it with your lips to notice the sensations around your mouth, and as you put it into your mouth, chewing it slowly and mindfully and noticing what it's like to eat that thing. So in any activity you do in the day, try to do a minute or two of mindfulness activities, mindfulness concentration, just focusing on being here and now, in the moment, noticing exactly what it's like being me here and now, with no criticism or judgment, just a generous sense of kindliness, compassion, and self-love. And allow that sense of love to radiate out towards everyone else, towards the entire universe. And it retrains your thought patterns to be much more positive and to reduce the level of negative habitual thoughts which can fill your mind such a lot of the time. You can notice the little chatterbox that sometimes runs a little running commentary of what your day is like and what's going on. Notice it with kindness and bring it to the present moment if it's becoming negative or unhelpful. Retrain it to be a friend rather than a tormentor. And that's all I'm going to do with you tonight. 24 minutes is well enough time. So have a lovely evening and thank you for watching. Bye.